I'm so glad you got past that mob of female autograph seekers. Good evening, everyone. JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, is looking to win the seat held by retiring Democrat Jerry Nadler. I think we have a picture of the seat. Good luck getting Nadler off that thing. Donald Trump announced that Veterans Day will also be known as Victory Day. He then said Groundhog Day will also be called Day of Mourning for that thing on Maxine Waters' head. This week was the start of the 35th annual Housekeeping Olympics in Las Vegas. Doug Emhoff is judging the competition. He's going to see who can make a bed the quickest before his wife gets home. He actually banged a nanny. It wasn't really a maid, but we'll just leave it there. Zohran Mamdani plans to spend $1 billion to replace cops on subways with social workers. He says most of that money will be used to pay for these social workers' funerals. Because they're going to be murdered on the subway. Yes. President Trump defended his plan to bring in hundreds of thousands of Chinese students, saying, I know what MAGA wants. And that's a great college ping pong team. Amy Schumer, the comedian, has removed all of her photos of when she was fat from social media, leading to accusations that she's racist against black men. Thank you. I'm going to wait you out. That is the best joke you're going to hear today. It's the best joke you're going to hear today. All right, and finally, residents of Prince Andrew Road in England are urging officials to change the street name due to the embarrassing association. However, I'm not sure if the new name is going to be much better. Yeah. All right, this is a great story. So a black lesbian walks into a town hall and asks a liberal congressional candidate to define what a woman is. And get this, her name is Hyman, and his name is Wiener. Sounds like I wrote this, but I didn't. And talk about destiny. But the congressional candidate, Scott Wiener, who's running for Nancy Pelosi's seat, gave an answer that would make Ketanji Brown Jackson sound smart.
As a lesbian woman who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, so if you're trans women are women.
That is not an answer. That's what happens when ChatGPT throws up in its mouth. But the mob in the room cheered for him anyway. But Tish Hyman, the black lesbian with more balls than the WNBA locker room, stood her ground. So she'd just been harassed in a gym locker room by a self-identified trans with a history of violence. This fiend once broke his wife's jaw so badly that she needed reconstructive surgery, and then he took her name. That's crazy. Well, if you can't beat them, I guess then become them. But for the woke, reality doesn't matter, ideology does, and whether you can be bullied into saying something you know isn't true. But Tish wasn't going to be bullied.
I want to support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now. And we want to know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women, women. Trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted.
Women are women.
I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker rooms.
Yes! She should run for Pelosi's seat. But she wasn't done dropping the hammer.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong.
Yes, that line, that last line hit harder than Joy Behar's ass dropping anchor on a booth at Denny's. Wiener, of course, is at the end of the slippery slope where men are women and pedophilia is the next alternative lifestyle. For instance, this guy once suggested Drag Queen 101 for grade schools. Because nothing says education reform like kids watching a hairy bald guy belting out Donna Summer hits in a pink and yellow onesie. Although I wouldn't mind that. Wiener's also advocated against adding adults who have sex with minors to sex offender registries, which I guess is a way better solution than jailing them for molesting kids. And here he is at a kink festival. I've seen better bodies in a scurvy ward. Not sure if they exist, but it sounds right, scurvy ward. But underneath his little costume, he is today's left, a shield for delusion. But when a black lesbian shows up and spits facts, suddenly the lefties there, they didn't know who to protect. It's their worst nightmare when the oppressed stop reading their script. Talk about a head-on collision, as if Rosie O'Donnell and Katie Porter banged heads chasing down a hot dog cart. But Tish didn't come to make trouble. She came to make sense. She was polite, calm, even deferential. But she committed the one unforgivable sin of the woke. She placed truth over tribe. And it had Wiener blinking and sputtering more linguistic tofu.
I'm so sorry that you were
Multiple times.
and I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women, and that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
Yeah, Scott, you care about the safety of women. And Don Lemon loves the Swedish bikini team. But it's all just cowardly deception. The left keeps using the language of civil rights to sell biological fiction. They've turned equality into a costume party, with women's safety being the price of admission. Because when you can't define a woman, you sure as hell can't defend one. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She went from the flaming lips to artificial hips. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. He's half Irish and half Korean, so he can drink and not drive. Comedian Steve Byrne. He's scrambled more brains than a short order cannibal. Host of the Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast on ESPN, Chael Sonnen. And in high school, she got a varsity letter for eye rolling. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Tiff. Kennedy, you know what strikes me about all that whole exchange is how, not only how strong she is, but how incredibly weak he is. And he's running for Pelosi's seat, probably the only thing he's qualified for. I don't even know what that means. But you know what I'm saying. It's like he's awful and she's amazing.
Where Wiener meets Hyman.
Yes.
Sounds like my prom night, Greg.
You were just waiting for me to get to the end of my question.
Yeah. That was loaded in the chamber.
Yes.
She's been so patient, by the way.
Yes. Why didn't you call me and give me that for my monologue?
But you brought up something really important, and that's cannibalism. Because that's what we're doing. I mean, other than the fact that you devour black lesbians in your Pornhub history.
Yes.
The left gets to cannibalize itself, and we all get to see who they prioritize. Because, you would think that a black lesbian would be at the very top of the strata, and that's not the case. This guy has chosen to show that he's a misogynist and kind of a racist and homophobe all at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's like, how can a misogynistic, racist homophobe run for office in San Francisco? I think, doesn't that disqualify him?
Yes.
I mean, he's betrayed his bigotry with the choices that he's made in one single town hall meeting.
He's invented a new identity, and he's like, but I identify as a douchebag, so you can't attack me. He actually is on the side, Steve, of the guy that harassed her, the guy who beat up his wife, broke her jaw, and he's saying, no, that's a woman. That is not a woman. That is a guy gaming the system.
Well, not only did he break a jaw, but on video, he broke a hymen. So
No, the hymen broke him.
The hymen broke, yes.
Oh, yeah,
there we go.
You're right. Never.
But I mean, it says a lot about like California in general, where you're black, female, lesbian, and if you can't find a safe space in California, what does that say?
Yeah.
The way she commanded the floor, I have a lot of respect for her. She communicated eloquently. She stated her case. She was very, very grounded. She's black, lesbian. She plays her cards right. She could be the next White House press secretary.
Actually, she's overqualified. Chael, I admired the way she did this because she was very respectful. And she wasn't scared. She took a risk in front of a mob. It was so clear they were against her.
Yeah, I also saw the courage in that. And when the Scrabble community of LGBTQ, they leave out the O for obnoxious. And one thing about that Wiener is it was just so weak.
Yes.
It wasn't being strong. Like, it's a very real thing. Yeah. If you're a lesbian woman or a gay man, you say, here's who I am, here's what I'm looking for, and if we get to that point, you're not going to have any surprises. That's very real. And all she was looking for was some clear answers, and we just started playing a game, and there's no courage in that. There's no honor. The gold standard of reality used to be what happened, but now the gold standard of reality is, how did it make you feel? And that's weird. That's just not leadership.
Is Chael, what happened to, like, I don't know how, when I was young, if there was a dude in a locker room who said he was a woman, somebody's dad would come over and beat the shit out of him. Somehow, are we ever going to get back to that point where we deal with this sensibly and just beat the out of perverts in bathrooms? Sorry. I'm sorry, but that's what you do.
That's the way that used to be handled. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, when this came around, this was bipartisan. Obama started it, and it was candidate Trump at the time. And Trump goes, well, for Trump Towers, use the one you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of sense in 2015. But now that we've seen, to your point, the gaming of the system, it's time for someone to get their ass whipped.
Yeah, it is about game. I think it's.
Why are you looking at me?
Like, just for backup, like for you to go, yeah, I'll come down there with you, like that type thing.
I like this lady. What do you make of her, Kat?
I don't think he handled her very well.
No.
I think that it should be a very easy thing to come out and say this person with a documented history of domestic abuse is bad.
Yes.
Like, you shouldn't want that to be, like, your poster trans.
Yes.
And it's just speaking generally, right? It's bad to generalize people. And people on the left will say, not all trans people are predators. And I agree with that. It also goes both ways, though. That doesn't mean that just because someone is trans, they cannot be a bad person.
Yeah.
And if you start evaluating people with a lens where you're like, oh, person's this, so they must be this, then that's how bad things happen. You have to be capable of viewing a person as an individual.
Exactly. They can. Every individual has the potential to be bad or good, and being in a group doesn't make you even less likely or more likely, unless you're me. I'm incapable of being bad.
Yeah, I do love the way you present yourself as like the guy standing up against perverts.
I appreciate that, Kat. I appreciate that. I choose to take that on the literal sense, not in an ironic way.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.